Science at SHS is about tapping into children's innate sense of curiosity. Why do things happen in the way that they do? Learning and teaching in science embraces this idea of a shared journey of discovery between the pupils and teachers. Our most important resource is our staff. The science team consists of 22 dedicated, knowledgeable and passionate teachers from a diverse range of backgrounds and experiences who have one thing in common. They want to deliver learning experiences that unlock the natural curiosity and allow pupils to flourish and realise their potential in science. We emphasise that journey of discovery through practical activity and have a first-class technician team to offer and deliver that practical support. Even during the current restrictions, we are still offering practical opportunities to our pupils, particularly at GCSE and A-level. We have 13 well-resourced laboratories. Our teachers are innovative and embrace evidence-based practice in their teaching. Retrieval practice is used extensively in lessons, and the team keep up to date with the latest cognitive science to ensure all pupils in their classes make optimum progress.
At A-level, the girls start Year 12 by studying cells. So they learn all about the organelles inside cells, which is in a lot more detail than they previously learned at Key Stage 3 and then at GCSE. And alongside that, we run a biological molecules course, so unit, and they learn there about the different molecules that we find inside these cells. And so the two topics really do connect well with each other. And by the end of the cells topic and the biological molecules topic, students will have a more holistic appreciation of cells, what they're made up of, and also how they can then interact with other cells in the body. They then move on and they study mass transport systems as well as genetic diversity. And then at the end of Year 12, we do a field course. So we go away normally to Pembrokeshire or to Taunton, and the girls have lots of opportunities to see biology working in the field. So they'll have opportunities to carry out their own sampling in coastal ecosystems and also in woodland ecosystems. And actually here they'll learn how to use a transect, they'll learn how to sample in terms of measuring abundance using quadrats, and they will also have the opportunity to complete a number of their required practicals. So actually during Year 12 the students do complete a number of required practicals, 3 of which are completed on the field course. And these required practicals really assess and allow girls to develop competencies in a couple of major skill areas. So one example is learning how to complete a biological drawing, another might be using a specific piece of equipment. And over time, we expect them to develop mastery in each of these competencies. So during the field trip, they have 3 required practicals that they complete. The main one, the one the girls spend a lot of time doing, is actually their own independent project where they look at how the distribution of a specific organism of their choosing is affected by an abiotic factor, again of their choosing. So they're given a lot of freedom after they've learned about the different ecosystems and the organisms that inhabit those ecosystems. They've got a lot of flexibility and independence and opportunity to choose something that they're really passionate about and that they can investigate. And so during that field course, they'll come up with their own method, they'll collect their own data, and then they'll carry out their own statistical tests in order to determine whether they can accept or reject their null hypothesis. So as students then move into Year 13, we start looking at larger processes and really piecing together all of the fundamentals they learnt in Year 12. So specifically at the beginning of Year 13 they learn about photosynthesis and respiration. So at GCSE, photosynthesis is just simply a word equation. They know it's carbon dioxide plus water makes glucose and oxygen, but actually there's a huge amount going on behind the scenes, and really at A-level in Year 13 they learn all about the biochemistry of that process and how glucose is actually made by the cell. They then go on and they study neurons and muscles, and then on the other side of the course they start the year with inheritance, populations, evolution, and they then go on to look at gene technology. And gene technology in particular at Surbiton is incredibly special because we have a huge range of specialist equipment, so the girls can actually make their own genetically modified bacteria that glow. So we have a P-Glow kit. We also run our own gel electrophoresis, so the girls can have their very own opportunity to try out running a gel, and we have our own PCR machine as well. So lots of opportunities there for students to really develop an understanding of how these processes take place and actually give it a go themselves. And they're always hugely successful as well. So we always get a number of plates that have glowing bacteria, which is always very exciting towards the end of the year. So that's the big difference actually between GCSE and A-level. So whereas at GCSE they very much are able to describe processes, so they know that in order to make a genetically modified bacteria, we simply remove a gene from one organism and insert it into the bacterial's DNA. But actually at A-level they learn exactly how that process can be carried out. It's not as simple as just removing it. Something has to remove that section of DNA. And that's really the extra level of detail that comes in. We're looking at how things happen, not just simply a overall description of what's happening. Biology A-level at Surbiton is incredibly special, and that's because we really put a lot of energy into making sure the girls can be curious and really try and promote their passion and their own curiosity. So we run a number of trips throughout the year, the first being Biology Live, where the girls go along and hear from massively world-renowned influential scientists and biologists in particular. So the likes of Professor Robert Winston and Dr. Adam Rutherford and Professor Sarah Jane Blakemore, they are all key speakers at the Biology Live event and discuss their own research. We're really trying to promote the girls' curiosity and passion and really allow them an opportunity and a bit of space and time to think about what they are interested in. So alongside the Biology Live trip, we also have a Biology Bulletin, which is sent out monthly by one of the teachers, and that gives recommendations for podcasts and free online lectures and science exhibitions that are going on in London that the girls can access in their own free time and try and find what they're really passionate and curious about. We also run a number of independent projects throughout the A-level course. So the first one they do at the beginning, in the middle of year 12, and that's a statistics project. So once the girls have learned about the different statistical tests, they then have 3 lessons to think about what they're interested in, what they can logistically investigate in a classroom setting, and actually then write a method, carry out the research, carry out the data collection, and then carry out a statistical test to determine whether they can accept or reject their null hypothesis. And actually in previous years we've had really interesting investigations. One was to look at whether or not the 5-second rule for dropping food is a fair rule and should be believed. So it turns out it should definitely be believed. So yeah, the girls have lots of time and space to think creatively, think about what they're passionate about, and have the opportunity to investigate those things.
I love science because we have a myriad of problems facing humanity, and science can solve those problems. And I am a passionate science teacher and leader of science education because I really want to equip the next generation to be able to solve those big problems like climate change, like world pandemics. And I believe that at Surbiton we can really achieve this and send a huge army of STEM specialists out to help solve those problems.